Hello everyone, this is Melvia. Welcome back to my channel. So today we are going to take a look at Swarm. So Swarm is a solo hack stealth game. You can find this on HIO. It is a pay what you want game, and at the moment it's print and play. Although there will be a physical copy coming soon in July. But it's a very small game that only takes like 21 pages, so it's probably a very easy print and play. For those of you who are not too convinced with printing too much materials. But what is Swarm? Swarm is a part hex crawl, part dungeon delve, designed for solo play. And the premises of the game is pretty straightforward. You are playing as a colonist who is attempting to escape the planet Ramses that you're on. You must take your character to the only known zone of safety where you will rendezvous with a rescue ship. And this is not going to be an easy task because there will be these kind of lotus-like creatures, which is called the swarms, who will be chasing after you because they are looking for both flesh and machines to consume. So, translated to game terms, it is basically a hex crawl where you're going to travel on this hex map from the start to the end. So it's a relatively small game. You're not going, for a long journey. There is a clear objective that you want to achieve, and also it represents that in terms of the size of the game as well. So as I mentioned earlier, there's only 21 pages, and that includes the character sheets as well. Majority of this book is made out of little encounter tables. The rules is really simple, and we'll go through that a bit later. And I also want to quickly give some credits. So this is written by Ryan Laliberté, and also it is inspired by a lot of these games, and I'm sure you've heard some of them: For Against Darkness, Disciples of Bones and Shadow, 12 Years, Mothership, and so forth. So, how do we play this game? So first of all, this game requires a very simple dice system. All the dice checks are using a d20, and all you need to do is basically roll d20 plus your modified stats, and then if it's more than 15, then you'll succeed. Or otherwise, you will fail. And there's also a straightforward advantage system. In that case, if you're on advantage, you will roll 2, pick the highest. If you're disadvantaged, you will basically roll 2 and pick the lowest. And also there is a really simple oracle system if you want. It's basically just d6, and it's yes, no, but. So you just roll 1, it will be a no, but. And the reason why I think there is an oracle system is because this system is written in the spirit of OSR, so old school Renaissance. So there's not all kind of rules written in it. It's basically giving you your basic structure, and if you want to expand it to be a more expanded solo role-playing experience, you can, because this ultimately is just a basic hex crawl. Which is not a bad thing because it is exactly what I want. Sometimes you want to play a game that is short, that you can play within maybe half an hour or so and then close it. And if you want, you can easily expand it to a proper solo role-playing game. So, first of all, we need to create a character. Again, it is very simple. You can pick an archetype, which is already designed for you. So there are 4 of them. There's a scientist, there is a mining crewman, naval guards, and pilots. They come with different equipment. Obviously, you can roll d4 to pick one of it, and that's exactly what we're going to do. So we're going to roll this one. So we are a pilot. So pilot gives me 3 fight, 4 flight, 4 focus, 1d10 health points, and we also have some of these equipment. And also, if you want, you can also create your own character, obviously. So it's just rolling a few d6, and you have some starting credits to use to spend on weapons, armors, and so forth. So first of all, what we need to do is to decide our health points over here. So let's see how much we have. Wow, that's a 10 over there, so that's nice. because this game is quite deadly, so it's good to start with more health points. And you also get 2 additional stuff. You also get 2 D10 credits. These are the currencies that you're gonna use. Let me see how much. Oops, this is 4 and I think it's 8, so it's 12 credits. And then we also have 1d4 auto medkits, which we're gonna see how much we have. So we have 4 as well. So in the interest of time, I'm gonna fill in the character sheet and I'm gonna come back. So I've populated our character sheet. Our pilot is called Maverick, and I've given him the equipment. So we have an auto pulse rifle, which gives us 2+2 damage modifiers. We also have a weave armor, which gives us armor of 6 and +1 health points as well. So our maximum is 11 instead of the 10 that we rolled. Now we also have 2 medkits, and actually I forgot to roll on the advanced tech, which is something that we can use to help our journey. Now these ones are quite interesting because even though they are very powerful, they will be attracting the swarms. So whenever we try to use them, we need to roll a focus check, and if we fail that check, then we'll basically get some corruption points, and the corruption points are basically the ones that is a timer in terms of when you will start attracting a huge behemoth swarm to your place that you will need to fight. So basically you don't want to keep roaming for too long, because obviously once you get a high health point, corruption point, then you will need to fight a boss type enemy. So that's about it. That's the character creation, and we are ready to start the hexcrawl part. So the hexcrawl part is relatively straightforward. All you need to do is to basically travel to another hex and roll on a d20 table to see what you are going to get. And sometimes you will have NPCs, sometimes you will have creatures, and also you might get to some settlements and also some delve, which is kind of like a little dungeon crawl that you need to play on. So what we're going to do is we're starting at the settlement, and we have actually 12 credits. What I'm going to do first is I'm going to do some tradings, because what we can do is we can buy additional auto medkits for 10, so 10 credits each. So that is bringing down to 2. And the next thing is I'm going to go up to the next hex, and we're going to roll on what we are going to encounter. And it is going to be a d20. So 14. 14 is settlement actually, and there's no encounter here, which is good, which means that we can keep going. So I'm going to go up again, and we'll see what we're going to get. So this is 18. So 18 is impassable. The rusted remains of a cooling tower cast shadows over an irradiated landscape. So now basically this means that it's impassable now, and then we have to go back to our previous settlement in this case, which is fine. So in that case, I guess we'll have to go to the right and see if that is anything good. So we'll roll again. So 4. 4 is a creature, an elite, so we're going to have our very first enemy. So the ground trembles and the sky shakes. The bite of an ether-like odor fills the air. Roll on the bestiary elite table, page 12, and we're going to do just that. So d12. So a 1. A swarm blight, and you can see the enemies in this game is also pretty straightforward. You have basically health points, how many are there, what is their fight statistic, and if they have any armor, and also they sometimes have a special rules. In this case, if you have more than 4 corruption point, it gets +1 and on its combat rolls. So actually I forgot to roll 2 things. The way it works is you need to do a focus text whenever you go to somewhere that's not a settlement or a delve. And our focus is actually +4, so it's pretty good. And what I'm going to do is roll on the water tower and the hex that I'm entering in with the elite creatures. So the first one is a pass, and the second one is a fail. So unfortunately, it means that we have one corruption point, which is fine because it means that we are not triggering that that special rules of the Swarm Blight. So it's a good time to start the combat, and we'll see how it works. So the combat in this game is really straightforward. It is a you use 2d20s, one for yourself, one for your enemies, and sometimes you will fight a group of enemies, and every time you fight a group of enemies, you just basically add one per enemy for the enemy's dice roll. So in our case, we have a fight of 3. Maverick has a fight of 3. The Swarm has a fight of 4. It also has an armor of 4. We have an armor of 6, but it has lots of health points, much more than what we have. Now, in this game, you can decide to evade, and that is also recommended in most cases until you get more kind of equipment and more powerful. And we are going to do just that because, as far as I can tell, there's no consequences if you fail it. You basically just get into the combat in that case. So we're going to do a flight test first of all, and our flight is +4. If we roll a 11 and more, then we will basically be able to evade it. And indeed, we evaded it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to say that this is, I'm going to go back to another hex. I'm going to go actually to an adjacent hex, which is this one. But I'm going to mark this as a Swarm Blight. So it's not yet defeated, unfortunately. So what we have to do is we're going to check the focus for this one as well. So 2, which means that we are now at 2 corruption. That's not good. So what we're going to see is what we're going to encounter in this hex that we escaped or evaded into. So let's see what we get for this hex. So 11. Nothing, so there's nothing on this one, so that's good. There's nothing at the moment, at least for now. Now, if you go back to a previously explored hex, then you will need to roll a dice to see if there's wandering monsters, which I'm going to try to not go back, and I'm going to go forward actually. I'm going to go to the top next to the Swarm Blight. Hopefully it is fine. So first of all, a focus test. 13 plus our focus, that's enough to pass it, and we're going to see what we can see in this hex. 8. Oh, impossible, unfortunately. So it's also impossible. So we have to come back to the previous ones. So now that we are back to our previous hex, unfortunately we will have to roll a d6 to see if we have any wandering monsters. So if we roll 1, there will be 1, and let's see. So it's a 3. So there's no monsters. That's fine. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to the right-hand side, and we're going to see what we're going to get. So another hex. Explorations, actually a focus check first, so a 9 plus a 4. Unfortunately, we're getting a lot of corruption here, so we are now at 3. So if we ever face that swarm again, then we'll need to trigger their special skills. And so what we're going to do is see what we have in this hex. So 14. Settlement, that's great. That is exactly what I need at this moment. Now, what you can do in the settlement. Now, in this game, there's not a lot of rules regarding what you can do in the settlement. All you can do is just basically heal yourself for I think for 20 credits points, or you can do some tradings. Now, obviously, we haven't actually used too much of our equipment, and obviously, we don't have any credits. So, as a matter of fact, we can't really do anything in a settlement, but if you want, you can obviously expand it into a solo role-playing games by by probably rolling on an NPC and seeing if there's anything you can do with them. And that's actually what I am going to do. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to roll on an NPC to see who we get in this settlement. I'm going to roll on one of these pre-created ones. And 4, another pilot. Interesting. So, so in this case, you can proceed by, see if there's anything that the pilot wants you to do, if there's any quests, does it have anything to do with the Swarm Blight, or if he wants to travel with you or not. And actually, we are going to do that. What I'm going to do is I'm going to roll on this one, a simple, very simple oracle to see if he's willing to travel with us to the rendezvous location so that we can escape together. And I'm going to roll on this one, and 4, yes. So we get another pilot with us. So that's pretty nice. I'm gonna call him. I'm gonna call him Goose in this case. There's no other way. I have to call him Goose. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna say, instead of having another character, I'm gonna say Goose is traveling with us. So we are a team now. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna keep going up, and we're gonna see if we get more corruption point. So first of all, the focus test. So it is a 6, unfortunately. That means that we have +1. So we're 4 now. And we're going to see what we have in that hex. So 4, another creature elite. So that's bad. That's really bad. But we're going to see what we have first. And it's a D12. So it's a 9, a Swarm Wraith, and this is quite a dangerous one. So I'm going to first put down a Swarm Wraith, and I guess we can decide if we can flee. I think it's a good thing that we flee, to be honest. Obviously we have Goose with us, but I don't know how we're going to use him in this situation. Obviously, what I can do if I wanted is to say, once we died, then Goose will be our next character, because he will be picking up our remains, and he will be running. Or we can say that Goose is going to sacrifice himself for us, which I don't want to do for now. What I am going to do is, I think we can kind of use the gear, the advanced gear, which is what I'm going to do. Because what I'm going to do is, we have the high-powered optics, which allow us to roll on the additional adjacent attacks to see what they are. And also we have a macro killer drone, which adds 2 to our combat rolls, which I am actually going to do. And the first thing we need to do when we use the advanced attack is to roll a focus die. And we're going to do if we can use it without doing any attracting anything. So let's see. So D20, perfect. So we've passed the focus die check for the equipment. So we have activated the micro killer drones, and from now on for this combat against the Wraith, the Swarm Wraith, we are going to be able to +2 to our rolls. So what I am going to do is, I guess there's no other way. We have to fight this this thing over here. Luckily, we have Goose at our side. Not sure how we're going to use him for now. We're going to try to see how this the combat works. So the combat works pretty straightforward. So we're going to roll 2 D20s, and the differences will be the damage dealt. So we will be the purple, and the Swarm Wraith will be the red ones. And so I'm going to first roll on one roll. So we have 14 and 11. So we did hit it, and we have a +2, and a +2 for the roll as well. So instead we are 16. So the difference is 5 plus 7 plus our 4, which means that the enemy is also 4, so we can cancel that. So So basically the difference is 7, and the armor is 6. Oh, that's no good. So so Swarm is basically just down with 1. It's very slow. It's going to be very slow. So the next round we are going to continue, I guess. That's the only thing we can do. Now this is where the part that I think if you want, you can implement some of your personal rules, because as you can see, it will be really difficult, or it will take a lot of dice rolling to chip down the Swarm Wraith. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do some kind of house rulings. I'm going to say that Goose is going to help us. So instead of us obviously just rolling a d20 plus 1 plus our fight and so forth, I'm going to say that Goose will also be able to help, and he's going to plus whatever, I don't know, plus whatever fight that he has. Also, obviously he's also a pilot, so I guess he will also has a plus 3 fight, and he will also has a pulse rifle and so forth. So so it will basically give us plus 5 on top of everything. Now the downside, we need to decide. The downside is that anytime we got hit, then Goose will be the first in being targeted, and basically I'll give him 3 lives instead of our 10. So I'm giving him 3 lives. So by the time we used up, then he's gone. So so we're gonna do it again. So we have 17. Wow, that's really nice. So for this one, obviously there's 16 indifferences, and we also have a plus 2 to ours, so it's 19. Unfortunately, it's just 19. Otherwise, we'll get a critical hit. So that will hit it by a 14 as well. So minus 14. So then we only have 9 left, and I actually forgot to add the Goose attack, which is another 5. So there's another 5. So basically, it is down to 5 now, and we'll roll it again to see how it goes. So 14 plus minus 5 is obviously 9, and 9 plus our damages, so it's 16. So it's 11. 11 plus 2, 13, 13 minus 6 is 7. So that is already enough to defeat this Swarm Wraith. And so unfortunately there's no special loot for this one, and we're not gaining any experience, unfortunately, in this game. But the good thing is, when we defeat a rare, or sorry, the elite enemies, we will be able to roll on the rare equipments or the rare loots, and we're going to see what we get from this thing. So it is 10, a pristine copy of Transhumanist Grimoire worth 800 credits. So that's really nice, and what I'm going to say straight away, instead of writing it down, is that we will definitely get rid of it. So it's basically 800. So instead of 2 credits, we're suddenly jumping all the way to 802 credits, and the Swarm Wraith is gone. So it's been defeated. So I think we're going to stop it here, because you can get the idea of this game. It is a very simple hex crawl. It's not basically overwhelmingly difficult. Now there's also a Delve rules, which is also a one that is very simple. You don't do any specific drawings of your dungeon. It is a point crawl, where basically you start with a room, so you just roll on a room, and then you roll on how many exits, and as you can see here, the exits is the rooms based on your rooms visited. So at the start, obviously you will start with 1. So if you roll d4, you can get from 1 to 4, 1 to 3 exits, and you basically just draw a dot and basically 3 additional rooms options. And now the more you explore, the smaller the dungeon gets, so less exits from each room. So by the time that you roll 5, the only chance is you roll 1 and you get 1 exit. And once you have 6 rooms visited, then you won't get any more additional exits in that case. So it is a kind of like the dungeon getting smaller, so narrowly getting to the end of the dungeon. So it's not going to be like an unlimited dungeon in that case. Now, the dungeon exploration is pretty simple. You get a room type, your encounter, if you have some NPCs, or you have some special features. Now, so this is really good for people who just want to roll a hex crawl, dungeon crawl. But you can also create little quests if you want. So you can easily expand this a little bit, and probably you want to say, if I want to get a quest to save someone, how do we do that? You can easily roll a d6 to say, which is the direction. So in 1 is north, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and how many hexes away. So you can just roll a d6, 3 hexes away. So maybe you can tell already that there is a delve over here. You need to travel over there, get to a number of rooms. Maybe roll a d10, d12 to get how many rooms you need to explore to get to that person, and then bring him back to the settlement, and then you get a reward and so forth. So it is good to have something that is really small. I really liked it. It's 21 pages in total. You can easily bring it around with you, play it in an hour or so, and then call it a day. Or if you want, you can expand it to a much bigger experience. And I really like this game. I think there will be a print copy coming in July. So if you want, definitely have a look at that. I will have a link at the video description below. So hope you enjoyed it. I will talk to you next time. Thank you. Bye bye.